Been having a lot of problems with rabbits eating my bush beans, so I tried this deer off repellent, which is also basically the same as the rabbit repellent, just on taller stakes. So I trimmed down the stakes and put it down closer to the right height for rabbits to see if it would possibly work in my garden to keep them at bay. Alright, so when I planted the beans, I had some rebar in the ground. I looped over some piping, just some plastic piping over to the other one, just like I would do a hoop tunnel for winter and early spring crops. And then I put this wildlife netting on there. And at first it worked really well. It kept them protected. I put little landscape rocks around to hold most of it down. But as I discovered, the rabbits will just chew right through it. Alright, one interesting thing is I've got the same system over here with the bird/wildlife netting, over my hoops. Got the same kind of stones holding it down. Got younger plants, which you think would be more appealing to those little pesky rabbits. But I don't get any damage here. And the other thing I'm wondering is if they're coming in and they like the cover of the other area, because you can see here there's a little bit more space in between the beans and the corn. There's not as much shade, there's not as much cover from predators. Certainly not on this side, it's just nasturtiums. So I'm wondering if you look over here, these beans and this corn are pretty tight together. Almost half the distance. So I'm wondering if the rabbits like coming in from there and they feel safe. And so I'm going to try this right now. I've got them spaced out. 2 at the ends, 2 in the middle, 2 at the other end. If this doesn't work, I might transfer all of these little blood stations onto this side where there's more cover and see if that doesn't deter them. If not, I'll either have to go to chicken wire or I'll have to learn to appreciate the taste of rabbit meat. So we'll check back tomorrow and see what happened overnight. Alright, so I went camping for a couple of days and I had those deer off stations set out nice and low, hoping that they would ward off these crazy voracious suburban rabbits that I have. And I thought when I walked up here, oh great, it doesn't look like I have a whole lot of damage, blah blah blah. And then I got to the middle of the bean patch and they have been chomping big time. So I'm gonna say that the deer off, deer repellent, dried blood does not really work for rabbits. I don't know what'll stop this rabbit besides a .22, which I can't shoot in the suburbs. So my next idea was, well, maybe I'll just plant pole beans because they haven't been really messing with my pole beans. But nope, they just weren't, maybe they hadn't found them because they're starting to clip off of them too. So I guess my project for the rest of the week is going to be to put chicken wire in. But I'm not even sure I want to do bush beans again. Maybe I'll just do pole beans and do like a little chicken wire cage around the bottom and just go with that until I can come up with a fence issue, something like a fence like I had last year to solve this issue. Because I don't like rabbit meat. I don't want to tick off my neighbors by shooting a gun. So that's where we're at. Deer repellent. Boo. Did not work for these pesky little rabbits. I have a newfound sympathy for Elmer Fudd. So I did end up planting some Kentucky pole bean seeds inside these homemade cages, and hopefully that will keep them out of the reach of the rabbits, and they can grow up the poles that I'll eventually put in, and hopefully this will solve the problem at least for the remainder of the growing season, and then next year we'll have to come up with a more permanent solution for the rabbits. So check back and see if this worked for me.